Brian Hamilton, thank you so much for having me back in your podcast loop. I have loved being interviewed by you. I think it was 7 times, if I'm not mistaken. So here we are back together. I want to share with you a really powerful opportunity to boost resiliency in organizations. And that is the Nurses Week Resiliency Reboot. Now, I know that you're all security experts, so you may be thinking, why are we talking about Nurses Week? Well, 2 reasons. Number 1, so many of you know the value of celebrating milestones. So I hope you will help me spread the word that there is this really powerful, done for you Nurses Week celebration. It's got the education with an amazing speaking colleague of mine, Stephanie Staples, a rewired nurse, resiliency expert. We've joined forces. I'm a recognition expert. We're going to make sure nurses feel valued, supported, and have so many tools to feel more resourceful in this challenging time. So please spread the word. The other reason I want to mention it is that this doesn't have to be just for nurses. All of your security professionals and the other departments you work with, why not make this one huge connective experience? Hospitals and facilities across North America, perhaps even across the world, could all benefit from a boost of resiliency. Would you not agree? And if we do it together, and if we take some of the burden off of you as busy leaders, I think we can make this happen really quickly. What do you think? I hope you will check it out. Visit us, learn more about what we're trying to do. Please spread the word. And if nothing else, just remember, Nurses Week is coming up, or the first part of May, varies a little bit country to country. Just please make sure you reach out to as many nurses as possible and say thank you. I appreciate you being on my team.
Be sure to subscribe to the Healthcare Security Cast so you don't miss a single episode. We're on multiple platforms including Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and Audible, just about anywhere where you can listen to a podcast. For links to all of these sites, for links to join the Healthcare Security Cast community groups on LinkedIn and Facebook, or if you're interested in being a guest or being a sponsor, you can find all of this through one link. Check out our Linktree at linktree/Brian Hamilton. That's linktr.ee/Brian, B-R-I-N-E, Hamilton. Again, that's linktr.ee/Brian Hamilton. And before we get into the show, I just want to thank our sponsors, 3D Network Technology. Reliability is our core value. Visit 3dnetworktechnology.com. And Genetech, delivering security strategies for healthcare. Visit Genetech, that's Genetec.com. And also the Change Execution Group and 360 Life Transformations. Visit 360lifetransformations.com.
Welcome to the Healthcare Security Cast, the podcast dedicated to healthcare security, safety, and emergency management. If you are involved with a healthcare security program or desire to be, this podcast is for you. Join the conversation as we discuss the issues that matter to healthcare security professionals while leveraging the expertise of healthcare security thought leaders and experts in personal development. And now, here's your host, Brian Hamilton.
Welcome to the Healthcare Security Cast for Friday, April the 2nd. I'm joined today by Glenn Lundy. Glenn, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, man. This is a great opportunity, so I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Now, I always like to start off by learning about our guest. So my introduction to Glenn Lundy was just scrolling through LinkedIn one day, and I saw this guy on rollerblades doing some public speaking. So, obviously a very unique thing. So I'm going to ask the profound question, who is Glenn Lundy?
Well, that's a great question to start off. No, I'm a husband to 1, a father to 8, a 23-year automotive professional. I'm also the host of the wildly popular morning show, #Rise and Grind. And as of recent, the founder of Breakfast with Champions, a morning show that we run on Clubhouse, the new app that has taken the world by storm.
Awesome stuff. Now, my next question for you is kind of how you got into everything that you're doing today, because it's, again, very, very, very unique work that you're doing, and it's really grown into something, much bigger, much outside of the automotive world. So Yeah, if you could share a little bit about that.
Yeah, man. When I got into, I've been in automotive 23 years, but I took a little gap in the middle because I had 2 seasons in the auto industry. I had 1 season in the auto industry where my career grew, but my life fell apart. And then I had a second season in the auto industry where when I went back, I was like, I am not about to let this industry destroy my life. Like my life is going to get better as well as my career. And in that season, I was able to do some incredible things in the auto industry, make a name for myself. We grew a real small dealership in a small town to become the second largest used car franchise dealership in the country in a period of like 6 years. And so through that, it opened up some other opportunities using social media and things like that. Having a stage and a platform, it gave me some opportunities to share a message of if you change the way you start your day, it'll make a massive impact in your life, and really a message of helping people to feel seen and heard and significant, and to unify, to bring people together in a unique and powerful way. And so I started delivering that message through my morning show a few years ago, and that just expanded into everything that we do now, which is, we have a clothing line, we have planners, we have live events. I've traveled around the world. I've spoke on stages with amazing superhumans, and we've just been able to really create a movement. We've raised money, man, like $750,000 we've been able to raise in the last 3 years, and just incredible things like that. But really, it just came from this need, this want, and this desire to use the tools that we have today to be able to spread a message of significance, helping people feel significant and understand that there are systems and processes that you can put in place in your life that can help extract the greatness that exists in all of us.
Awesome stuff. Now, again, like when you're talking, you can really feel the passion behind what you do. What fuels that passion?
Golly, man, I spent a season of my life, homeless, and in that season of my life, homelessness became hopelessness, hopelessness became suicidal thoughts became suicidal attempt. I attempted to take my own life at one point. Clearly I failed, or this would be your most watched interview ever. Just so you know, most listened to podcast in history if you were interviewing a dead person. But clearly I failed on that. And so that experience, just that first season of my life where I learned what it was like to be invisible. Homelessness, most people see and they think, well, that must be awful, you don't have any food, or that must be awful, you don't have anywhere to live. But really the worst part of homelessness is you become invisible. People won't make eye contact with you. They're afraid that you're going to mug them, or you're going to ask them for money and make them feel guilty when they don't give you any. And so you just start to blend in with the scenery, man. People look up above you, below you, to the left of you, to the right of you. They just won't make eye contact with you, and nobody says your name. And so knowing that experience and knowing that I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy, because there's nothing darker than feeling like insignificant and alone and not seen. And so now that I have an opportunity to do things, like this, where you actually want to hear my voice, you actually want to say my name, and you want to share me with other people. And so now that I know I'm in a position where people see me, I am so grateful that I want to make sure I give that 130%. There's a parable in this book. I forget the name of it. Yeah, the Bible. Yeah. The Bible. It's the number one best-selling book of all time with 3.6 billion copies sold. And so I always tell people, whether you're religious or not, man, success leaves clues. So you've got to read this book. It's incredible. And in the book, it talks about a parable of the talents, where we are gifted, we receive these things in life, and if we bury these things, right, if we bury them, they will be taken away and they will be given to those that choose to multiply. And so my passion and my fire really comes from, I've been given the gift of being seen and the gift of a voice and a message. And so now I feel really intentional about multiplying that gift, because I don't want it to go away, bro. This feels way better than that did. So that's what keeps me jacked up.
Awesome stuff. Now, again, I'll reiterate, we're going to talk about your book, The Morning Five, and your morning routine, and how that's really helped you be successful in everything that you're doing now. And I actually kind of would like to kind of get the history behind that. What led to you actually writing this book, sharing this knowledge, and you did say success leaves clues. What was it that made you kind of build this morning routine? That what was the prompting behind it?
Yeah. So in that season, of homelessness, in and out of jail, all that good stuff. Once I came through that, hit that proverbial rock bottom and started to bounce back, what I recognized and what was a transition point for me was I was living a 2D life, which was mind and body. If it looked good and it felt good, the answer was yes. And I started to discover and understand that, wait a minute, maybe we're not 2-dimensional, maybe we're 3-dimensional. Maybe there's mind, body, and spirit. Maybe it's if it looks good and it feels good and it is good, the answer should be yes. And so through starting to identify that and going, okay, wait a minute, that's different. That's different for me. I was a very 2D person at the time. And so I started to realize that, wait a minute, maybe I'm here in this position right now because of me. Like maybe I'm not a victim to everything on the outside. Maybe I'm a victim to some things that are going on the inside. And so if the truth is that I am the catalyst of all negative things in my life, well, then it only would make scientific sense that I could be the catalyst of all positive things in my life. And so in my science mind, I said, okay, well, if I'm the catalyst of all things positive, then I should probably get to know myself a little bit more, because if I'm the one in control, then I should probably know who I am. And I've always been a student. I like to study. I'm very curious. And so I went on this journey of self-discovery. Who am I? What is this third dimension? Like what is going on here? And that journey took me down a road where I studied Buddhism and I studied Scientology and I studied Christianity, and I started studying Les Brown and Eric Thomas and Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn and Napoleon Hill and Neil Donald Walsh and Tony Robbins, and the list goes on and on. I started studying all of these people to help me identify myself, and that journey led me to realize like a couple things. Like every text, every successful human, every successful story starts with someone who has discipline, someone who is committed, someone who has unwavering strength even amidst the storms. And every time that someone had some type of morning routine or some type of system, some type of daily reset that fed their mind, their body, and their spirit. So I started looking at different people's morning routine, Tony Robbins and cold showers and stuff. I'm like, I'm not taking no cold shower. I am a tropical people. I like heat. I do not like cold. But I started looking at all these different things and grabbing a piece of this, a piece of that, a piece of this, a piece of that. I try this, I try that, I tried this, I tried that. And then through that, I was able to create a 5-step system that really worked incredibly for me. And then I started teaching it, and it was working incredible for a lot of other people. So then I put it into book form, and now that 5-step system has helped hundreds of thousands of people around the world really change their lives just by changing the way they start their day.
Now, I guess when you're talking about a morning routine, the really important piece is obviously number one, getting up in the morning. But I think even before that, I remember I was listening to Eric Thomas speak one time, and he said, don't ask me what time I wake up, ask me what time I go to bed. So I'm curious to your thoughts on the importance of sleep.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of sleep cycles. So I know my sleep cycles. And I think everyone should know their sleep cycles. There is a pandemic going on this planet, and it's not just a virus named COVID. It is people are disrupted in their sleep because they don't understand sleep cycles. They feel like they need to sleep longer, which is not necessarily the case. They need to sleep better. You need to sleep with excellence. I sleep with in excellence. I'm an excellent sleeper, but I don't drink caffeine or coffee or any, I don't need any of those things, because when I wake up, I'm waking up at peak cycle, and that gives you all the energy you need to run all day long. So for me, my sleep cycles are 2 hours and 10 minutes long. So I'll stack 2 sleep cycles, and I sleep 4 hours and 20 minutes. So I go to bed at 11 o'clock at night. I get up at 3:20 in the morning. And that is all that I need. And when I say I go to bed at 11 o'clock at night, like at 10:59, I'm awake. At 11 o'clock, I'm asleep. Me and my wife could be mid conversation. I am out like a light snoring at 11, and she just knows. And I go into a coma until 3:20. And then 3:20, I wake up and I'm ready to rock and roll. And so the key to sleep is understanding how it functions for you as an individual. And I like to dispel the myth a little bit. People think that I'm a huge advocate of waking up as early as possible. And that's not the truth at all. Science just shows that that first hour when you wake up in the morning, that's when your brain is in full consume mode. You've been asleep for a while. Now you're waking up and the brain is going, am I awake? Where am I? Is there any threats? Like, you're in full consume mode for that first hour. You're just firing on all cylinders. So I don't care if you are the type of person that maybe works night shift and you sleep during the day and you wake up at 4 o'clock in the evening. That's great. I just need you to spend that first hour on yourself, mind, body, and spirit before you go out into the world. So when you do it, I don't care, other than first thing before you do anything else. Now, for me, because I have 8 kids, 2 businesses, all type, a show at 5:30 in the morning, I have to get up at 3:20 a.m. in order for me to get an hour before I go out into the rest of the world. That's why I get up so early. For you, you might be able to get up at 5 or 6 or, whatever. So I just like to clarify that, because sometimes people think that I'm like this Nazi that tries to get everybody to wake up at 3 a.m. And that is not the case. I just want you to make sure that first hour of your day is an investment in others by investing in yourself.
The other thing too, in terms of, getting out of bed, you want to wake up feeling refreshed. And one of the first of the 5 elements of the morning 5 is to never hit the snooze button. Why is it so important to not try to get those extra few minutes of sleep?
Because the snooze button is the devil. That's why. It was created by the devil. If you want to start every day with Satan, then start the day with the snooze button. No, the reason I say that is the snooze button is it's the biggest hoax in the history of the world, man. It's the greatest salesman there ever was. The snooze button says, hey, because it makes sense, right? Hey, if you stay in bed longer, you will get more rest, therefore feel more rested. That's what the snooze button is selling, right? That's the lie that people have bought into. The realization is your sleep cycles, your patterns, your behaviors, your body has adjusted your sleep cycles. It knows when that alarm is going to go off, and you are actually at peak wake time when the alarm goes off. That's when you're in the best part of your cycle. So if you hit that snooze button, you send yourself into the next cycle, which, like I said earlier, cycles are anywhere between 2 to 3 hours. So 10 extra minutes of sleep you're basically trading 10 extra minutes of sleep for now you're going to go through a whole nother sleep cycle. You're going to be groggy for the next hour and a half to 2.5 hours because you slept that extra 10 minutes. And when I mean groggy, I don't necessarily mean completely dragging. For a lot of people, it is completely dragging. But this is why coffee has become everybody's fuel first thing in the morning, because they feel a little groggy. Or if anything, you're just not going to be at peak performance for the first couple hours of the day. So even if you're at 95%, that's not 100. You're missing out on 100. So that snooze button, man, it's the enemy. It's the devil. Get rid of that freaking thing. There's actually a setting on your iPhone where you can disable snooze buttons, so you don't have them on your iPhone, in case that's a weakness.
That's actually a fantastic tip.
Yes, yeah. You can go right in there and turn that sucker off
Awesome.
where it doesn't exist.
Now, the other thing too, I'm sure obviously you're someone who's very active on social media. You're using all the platforms, using Clubhouse a lot lately. When you get up in the morning, the other thing that you mentioned was, you don't want to touch your phone first thing. Can you talk about that a little bit, and any advice for anybody who, because a lot of people I know feel like the first thing they need to do is check social media, make sure everything's okay. Make sure that they're not missing something critical.
Dude, you're not ready, man. You're not ready for what's in your phone, bro. Let's think about what you have access to in your telephone. All right. Let's just get real and raw here. All right. In your phone, you have access to politics, racism, violence, pornography, anything negative, somebody else's comments, people cussing at each other. You got the WAP song, you got clan member, you got it all, man. You got it all. Everything you can think of is in this little stinking device right here. Everything bad that exists on the planet exists right here in your phone, and you're not ready. You are not ready for that first thing in the morning, especially when you're in consume mode and you are so influenced by whatever's going in, when that brain is firing, going, where am I? Am I aware? Is there danger? Like, your brain is consuming information. And if you feed it all of that junk, dude, like, that's like putting, that's like putting water in your gas tank or something. That's not the right oil in your gas tank. It ain't gonna work. You can't fire on that. And so your emails can wait, your text messages can wait, your notifications can wait. Trust me, it's not going anywhere. I have yet to see a Mission Impossible, this message will self-destruct button on any notification or email that I've ever received. Like, if I don't check it right now, it stays there. It doesn't just disappear, right? It's not like invisible ink or something like that. And so it will be there. And sometimes people come to me, they're like, Glenn, but what if somebody died? And I'm like, they are not going to care that you found out an hour later they're dead. What do you mean? What if somebody died? Who cares? Like, come on, dude. You got to take care of yourself first. So jumping into your phone first thing in the morning is the worst possible thing that you could possibly do. You are now handing your life over to others. Literally, you're handing it over. You're saying, feed me your thoughts, your opinions, and your view on the day. And if any of that's negative in any way, shape, or form, you've now set the tone of your day with a negative connotation. You're toast, man. You're toast. So if you need to grab your phone to put on some instrumental music or something like that, I'm a fan of that. I do that. I throw the headphones on. I go to YouTube. It already knows, because all I listen to is instrumental. So it pops up instrumental. I push the button. I push play. But notifications, emails, text messages, phone calls, all that stuff, like social media, all that stuff waits until I have built a solid foundation to where I know my visions, my gratitudes, my dreams, my goals. I'm rooted in my purpose. I know what my day is going to look like and how I'm going to take control of it, how I'm going to impact other people's lives. And then I'll let you come in here and try messing around in my brain now that I've put up some borders and some walls and I'm protecting the mission and the empire, if that makes sense.
Definitely does. And
we lost half your audience. We told them they couldn't hit snooze, and then we told them they couldn't grab their phone. They hate me now.
And it's funny that you give that example too of, and you gave the example in the book as well of somebody dying. One of my old employers, they would call it, I was on call, so I'd get called in the middle of the night, and I try to be really intentional with my time. And someone kind of gave me a bit of a scolding because I didn't wake up to answer the call. And they're like, what if somebody died? And I said, well, if they did die, they're still going to be dead when I wake up and return your call.
No doubt.
So,
no doubt. Unless Jesus is walking around or something,
Yes, Lazarus is back. All right. Well, either way, you still didn't need to interrupt my sleep.
I cannot believe you didn't answer that call when I was dead, young man. Thank you. So people are crazy, man. People think things are urgent that aren't urgent. I'm learning more and more in my old age that I was so dumb when I was young, man. Golly, I was dumb. And the things that I thought were really important aren't. And things that I think take a lot of time don't. Like, it's really interesting. I had a mentor tell me one time, he goes, Glenn, one of the biggest problems in the world is people think that things take longer than they actually do. And I said, what do you mean by that? He said, I know people that will need to have a business meeting. They will fly this person out for this business meeting. They will meet up. They will have a 20-minute business meeting or a 40-minute business meeting. Then they'll go and have lunch together. And then they'll hang out or maybe meet up for dinner or go out for a cocktail. And then that person will stay in the hotel the night before and the night after. And so they'll spend 3 days to have a 40-minute business meeting. He said, when people come to my business meetings, I tell them, fly in. And when the meeting's done, I say, go home. We're done. There ain't no point. And I thought about that and I'm like, golly, we waste a lot of time on things that don't require, that much time. And so it's just interesting how most of us, including old me, not so much new me, but most of us have these weird ideologies of what is urgent and how long things take. Like, dude, time is your most crucial and important asset. You should study it. You should know it. You should understand it and make sure to invest every single second of it. Do not waste it. Do not think it lasts forever, because it doesn't. Like, become a student of time and you'll work your way to success. I promise. I promise.
Now, I'm also curious, again, just because you have so much going on and we're talking about the importance of time right now. What are some of the ways that you manage your time and make sure that you're fitting everything in and things kind of aren't falling through the cracks?
Yeah, everything's on the calendar, bro. And I mean everything. Everything's on the calendar. And I didn't used to be this way at all. Um, but now, I have my priorities. I know what the mission is. I know where we're headed. And so when I left the retail automotive side, so 3 years ago, I left the dealership that I was at. And now I consult with dealerships all around the country. But when I left, one of the first things I told my wife is, I'm going to eat breakfast and dinner with my kids 250 days a year. Because prior to that, I was eating breakfast, maybe breakfast. I was eating dinner with my kids on Sunday nights. That was it. Other than that, I was in the dealership, I was working, so on and so forth. And so, that was a priority. Now, the reason it was 250 nights, not 365, is I like to travel too. I'm very nomadic, man. And so I left myself 115 days to be on the road, to be traveling, to go speaking, to go do whatever, right? And so I'm not trying to be unrealistic and say, well, I'm going to eat dinner with my kids every night and then feel guilty when I got to run off and go to a seminar or a workshop or whatever. And so by being very strategic, forward thinking, and considerate of all the things that you value most in life, you can find time in your calendar. If you're very intentional about how you use your time, then you can purposely put in all the things that you need. And so my calendar says, like, 3:20, I wake up, it's gratitude goals. I go through the whole morning 5. At 4:30, I jump in the truck. I drive to my studio. At 4:50, I'm in studio. I do all my stuff. I set up for my show. I launch on Clubhouse, do all that. Then at 6 o'clock, we close that down. I do some Q&A, answer some questions, respond to some comments. At 6:30, I'm back in the truck. I go back to the house. And from 7 to 8, I have breakfast with my kids. From 7 to 8 o'clock. It's on the calendar. Eat breakfast with your kids. Yes, sir. I can do that, right? 8 to 9, get ready. Well, 8 to 8:45, I'm back at the office around 9. And then it's like boom, 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 boom. We do all the things. And everything's just, it's a system, man. I found that as humans, we have a hard time managing ourselves, but it's much easier to manage a system, right? Like, okay, you just look at the system. If the system's broke, you fix it. If the system's working, then great. You just throw maybe a little bit of lube on it and you keep it rocking and rolling. But as humans, if we don't have systems, dude, I got 8 kids. I can tell you, I could show you exactly what a human looks like when they don't have a system or a process, man. It's chaos, bro. Straight chaos. So even with the kids, my wife's got systems, everything's a system. So just invest your time wisely, put all the things in there that matter to you, and work on building your business around your life instead of building a life around your business. I think that's important.
No, that's great advice. Now, the other thing I wanted to kind of circle back to is, again, I took you in a bit of a rabbit trail there, but that was selfishly, I wanted to get I wanted to get some of your insights, but I want to go back to the morning routine.
That's what I'm here for. I love it.
Awesome. Well, so again, when you get up in the morning, we already talked about the things that you don't want to do, which is hit that snooze button, grab that phone. What is the first thing that we should be doing?
Yeah, the first thing that we need to do is write down our gratitude, the things that we're thankful for. And then we follow that up with our goals. And I kind of put those two together. To me, that's one step. It sounds like 2 gratitude goals, but to me, it's one step. I know that every person that listens to this has been told they need to write down their goals. And there's a reason why 80% of people do not write down goals. And it's because they tried. they tried writing down goals, and when they wrote down their goals, it actually created a negative energy instead of a positive energy. Oh, I wish I had a bigger house. Oh, how I wish I was better looking. Oh, how I wish I had more money. Oh, woe is me. I suck right now. I suck. I got a small house, no cash, and I'm ugly, right? Like that's how a lot of people come out when you just start writing goals. It can make you feel less than instead of greater than. Makes you feel like what you've done already is not enough. What you've accomplished up to this point, it doesn't have value. And so a negative frequency, nobody wants that. So people fall off. They're like, man, I just don't even write down my goals because they never come true anyway, right? So that negative frequency is not what you need to be creating in the morning. You need to be creating a positive frequency in the morning. So if we start from a place of gratitude, I am thankful for my house. I'm thankful for my financial situation. And my goodness, I'm thankful that I woke up today and I am alive and I am healthy. When we start there, then it's okay to say, and I'm working towards something bigger, and I'm working towards something more, and I'm working towards being in better shape body wise. We can do that from a place of gratitude where we celebrate how far we've come. People forget that this whole living thing, bro, there's thousands of things that kill people every day, and you didn't die yesterday. Congratulations. You should celebrate that. That's something you should celebrate. There are tens of thousands of people who did not wake up this morning, but you did. Congratulations. The adversity that you've gone through, the troubles that you've gone through, the sicknesses that you've overcome, the moves, the trauma, the heartbreak, all of these things that you've overcome in your life, dude, congratulations. Celebrate that. You deserve that. You see, here's the thing about celebration. Us as humans, we thrive under celebration, man. We love it. And I'll refer to my kids again. My kids teach me everything. So when we're potty training the kids, right? Fisher, he's the most recent one to get potty trained, my little boy. He's 3 now. So Fisher, when he goes pee-pee in the potty, dude, we go off. The whole house. We're like, woo! Fisher went pee-pee in the potty. Everybody's doing a dance. Mama's dancing, daddy's dancing. All the kids are doing the dance. Like, we're celebrating. And Fisher's like, wow, I'm going to do that again, right? He wants to do it again. He wants that reinforcement. Boom, and we celebrate. And boom, and we celebrate. And boom, and we celebrate. And then it becomes a habit, and it doesn't require celebration anymore, right? Well, we're wired that way from the time that we're little to thrive under celebration. So take 10 minutes every day to celebrate what you've accomplished, to celebrate how far you've come, to celebrate how resilient you are. I am so proud of every human being that woke up today, because I understand that that is not an easy task to still be alive in 2021 in this day and age. And so celebrate your wins, and then set your sights on more wealth, abundance, dreams, visions, all of those things. And when you come from a place of gratitude on a positive frequency, your goals will be drawn to you because you are now an attractive person versus a detractive person. Hope that helps.
It definitely helps. So really taking care of the emotional and the mental is probably like you said, the first thing that you want to do. And then obviously the next step is to take care of the physical.
Yeah. You gotta, objects in motion tend to stay in motion. So a lot of times I get people they're like, Glenn, I woke up at 4:00 in the morning. By 5:30, I'm back asleep. I'm just too tired. I just can't do it. Well, the reason you're back asleep at 5:30 is because you're sitting around like playing pinochle with yourself or something, right? Like, get your body in motion. This is Isaac Newton's law, right? I think it's Isaac Newton. It's the law that says an object in motion tends to stay in motion. An object at rest tends to stay at rest. So when you wake up and you get going, you do your gratitude, you do your goals, so on and so forth. Some people are like, okay, well then after that, Glenn, I'm gonna meditate for 45 minutes. And I'm like, bro, not me. Because if you make me sit still for 45 minutes, I'm gonna sleep for 44 of those 45 minutes. That's just simple as it is. Dude, I gotta get moving. I got let's go. If I sit still, I am out. Simple as that. And so get the body moving. And I don't care if you crawl, walk, run, play golf, play basketball, doesn't matter to me. That's up to you. Your individual self actualization of what is healthy for you, right? is between you and you. I'm not here to tell you should look a certain way, be a certain weight, or any of those things. But you do need to get moving, and you have to understand that this temple that you've got, like, it deteriorates. And the longer it sits still, the worse it is. It's interesting. Airplanes, the most dangerous place for an airplane to be is sitting on the ground. Sitting on the ground, parked. As it sits, it starts to weather, it starts to rust. All of the weight that's on the wheels and on the bolts and on the it starts to break down, man. It starts to break down. Just like if you see any old ancient city, these buildings just fall apart over time. It's because they're not in motion. You put that airplane in motion, baby, now it's got lift, right? It's got wind that's holding it up. It's lighter, right? Now you got 20,000 pounds in the air, right? Because of these forces of motion. Motion will keep you young. Motion will keep your body from deteriorating. So get in motion, take care of the physical, super important.
Awesome. So now after we've taken care of ourselves, the next thing that we want to do is do something for someone else.
Well, Brian, you've been pretty selfish this morning. I'm just gonna say that. All right. You won't hit the snooze button. You didn't snuggle with your partner first thing. You didn't stay in bed. You selfish son of a gun. You won't answer the phone. No text message. You won't answer my emails. You've been all about you, man. You're writing down the things you're thankful for, celebrating yourself first thing in the morning, looking at your goals, your dreams, your visions. Now you're taking care of your body. You've been quite selfish this morning. So with that said, I'm proud of you. Congratulations. You should be selfish in the morning. When else do you get to be selfish? As the day continues, you ain't going to get no time for you. It ain't going to happen. You know it. So take that time in the morning. Now, once that's done and you are vibrating in this positive frequency because you have taken care of yourself, you have rooted yourself firmly where you're ready to conquer whatever storms come ahead, you now have a responsibility, not just the ability, but a responsibility to take that positive energy and release it out into the universe and make an impact in somebody else's life. So I always suggest and do the things for me, and then I send out an encouraging message, whether it be a text message, a Facebook message, maybe it's a sticky note that you put on the mirror for your wife, maybe it's something that you breathe into your kids or your husband, whatever it is for you. Release that positive energy out into the world. And here's the craziest part. This is crazy, bro. Energy, every ounce of energy that exists in the universe today has been here from the beginning. Energy cannot be created, nor can it dissipate. It can only be converted. Look it up. Science will tell you. It can only be converted. This is why we have windmills that convert into electricity, right? This is why we have solar panels that capture the energy from the sun and can turn that, right? It's converting. It's all about converting energy. So when you release positive energy out into the universe, not only does it make an impact in the person that you send that message to, but ultimately it has no choice but to come back to you in some form. And this is why you read in biblical texts and other texts, you'll read, you reap what you sow, comes back tenfold, all these other things that you've heard, all these different philosophies and principles around this. It's simply the physics of energy. It has to come back. It will convert. And typically, it comes back even stronger than you released it. So even on step 5, though your intention is not selfish, it is self-rewarding as well to send out encouraging messages and make an impact in other people's lives.
Awesome stuff. Now, I want to circle back to you starting off, your 2 businesses, because again, I'm sure, you had been working, like you said, you've been in the automotive industry for a number of years. For you to step out and do your own thing, because again, just from what I know about you, what I've seen, you're really successful in what you're doing. And for a lot of people, sometimes I feel like their success gets in their way. They don't want to take that next step because they've already established a level of comfort. Was there anything that you had to overcome to really, I guess, take that leap of faith and start working on your own venture?
Yeah, dude, I had to overcome everything. Are you kidding me? I quit my job, dude. Here I was. My wife was pregnant with my 7th kid. She was 9 months pregnant with baby number 7. And here I was making $750,000 a year. I was the face of the dealership. I had done everything I ever wanted to do in the automotive world. I was at the top, dude. I had the white picket fence. I had the house. I had the dog. I had the trampoline in the back. I was driving around in a sports car that the engine was like, I mean, I was living it up, dude, living it up. But I started to realize that I was comfortable. And one thing I know about comfort is that we are typically most comfortable in life right before death. You see it in relationships. People get too comfortable, they get divorced. You see it in business. Somebody gets comfortable in a position. Some young buck comes up and knocks them right out their seat. You see it in sports. These athletes work their tails off to get to the league. They get to the league, they get comfortable. Their career is shortened quickly, especially in the NFL. They don't be messing around. And the NBA, they don't mess around at all, right? And so when I saw, okay, great, I've done all of these things and I'm comfortable and I could probably live like this for another, 10 years or so. I probably could do that. But how many regrets will I have looking back going, okay, I stopped there. Like I could have made a bigger impact, but I didn't. Or some young buck comes and knocks me off my block and then I'm 55 years old versus being 40 years old, and there's an old man there's an old person, old man, old woman. There's an old person inside every single one of us. And that old person is like completely at the mercy of the decisions that we make today. The 70-year-old version of you has no choice in what life that 70-year-old is going to have at that point. Now they can make decisions moving forward, but they have no choice. And so I just don't want to be 70 going, golly, I sure wish Glenn would have took a chance. I sure wish Glenn would have went a little bit further. Yeah, he was making good money, and yeah, he had he had a nice wife and kids, but golly, he really didn't do too good on that legacy front. And now here I am still having to grind, and I'm 70. I don't want to be grinding when I'm 70. You know what I'm saying? And so I always just think about that old man, and I don't want to let him down at all. I don't want to let him down. And so when I quit, it was hard, and I had to give up my creature comforts. I had to give up my sports car, and I had to give up a lot of things, a team of people that I loved, an owner that was my best friend, and a brother that I loved working side by side with. I had to give up all of those things, but I just felt like there was more, and I had to spread my wings, and I felt like I had put in the work. I had taken that opportunity and maxed it out. See, a lot of people are like, this sucks, I quit, or this sucks, I don't want to do this no more. No. When you get an opportunity, you max out the opportunity. Now, once the opportunity is maxed out, you take whatever you learned from there, whatever tools, and you go use those to do something else if that's the case, if that's what you want to do. And that's what I did. Like when I left the dealership, we were on top, not on the bottom. We were thriving, not struggling. I had maxed out. I was in the highest position I could possibly be in that dealership. I had done things no other dealership had done in the country ever in history of car dealerships. And so knocking it out the park, I knew, it was almost like a walk-off home run, and it was like, all right, I'm leaving on top. And now I can take everything I learned in this season and create something new that allows me to build a life around my business instead of, I was working 70 hours a week and those types of things. And so, yeah, man, did I have to give stuff up? Yeah. Did I have to change my mindset? Yeah, 100%. Do I have to work harder now than I did then? Yeah, you better believe it, man. It's way harder owning your own gig than it is working for somebody else. I'll tell you that. But is every bit of it worth it? Oh gosh, man, it's been the most amazing thing ever. At least, if I go down and that 70-year-old's broke, at least he can go, well, he tried.
Hey, he can reflect on having a sports car with his seventh kid on the way. That's pretty impressive in itself.
Oh my gosh, man. I drove Hellcats for years. So My wife has we have like a big old, it's a limo basically. It's a Chevy express van 2500 converted into a 9-passenger with captain's chairs, and it's a limo, man. It's got 32-inch TV and all that. And so she's got the family car, and if we're going somewhere family, that's good. So my car doesn't need to be a family car. We got the family car. So I was always driving the Hellcat, and my excuse was, honey, it's got 4 doors, so I could take a kid if I need to take a kid. Just because it's, just because it can go 200 miles an hour, it's got 700 horsepower, doesn't mean you can't put a kid in the back. And so I drove that for years, man. But that was the first thing that had to go when I quit, and I had to go get a Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Well, hey, a Jeep Grand Cherokee is not bad.
When you go from 700 horsepower though to like 280, you have to change everything. You got to change the way you drive. You got to change the time you leave the house. Everything changes.
Fair enough.
That's all right. She told me I put up a number this year. Then for Christmas I can get another Hellcat.
There we go.
So I'm working on it.
Well, hey, yeah. Again, the growth. You got something to work towards now.
That's right, man. It's important.
Now, I'm going to ask you to do something that might be difficult. You were talking third person a little bit there, so it might help with this. But I want you to think back to when you were first launching your business. If you could go back now, knowing what you already know, what you've learned, what advice would Glenn Lundy today give Glenn Lundy, the new startup entrepreneur?
I got great advice when I went into the entrepreneur world. I immediately went to people I know that were doing some of the things that I wish I could do, and asked them. I'm a humble person, so I'm just like, hey, like the first thing I did, literally, and my wife's a saint, just so y'all know. I quit my job without no notice. We hadn't even talked about me quitting. I just quit. It was Monday morning, and it just happened. So I quit my job. I come home. She's about to pop any second with our 7th baby. And then after I told her I quit my job, then the next day I said, honey, I need to go to Las Vegas. There's a conference in Vegas. So I got to go to Vegas. I hop on a plane. So here I am, 40-year-old midlife crisis, if you want to call it that. I got a pregnant wife with our 7th baby. I just quit my job, and I'm on a plane to Vegas by myself. And my wife's okay with all of this. But the reason I went to Vegas is I needed to get around industry professionals so that I could figure out and ask questions and figure out what I was doing. And there just happened to be an automotive conference going on in Vegas that weekend. And so that's what I did. I just went and put myself around people that are doing some of the things I wanted to do, man, and just humbly looked at them and said, hey, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm lost. Can you guide me? And they'd say, well, what are you thinking? I'd say, I don't know what I'm thinking. I know here's what I got. Right. There's a story in the Bible of a widowed woman. It's just her and her 2 sons. And the disciple Elijah is coming through the town, and she says, Elijah, help me. They're coming to take away my boys. They're gonna enslave my boys because my husband left me with a bunch of debt. He died and we got debt, and I ain't got no way to get out of this debt. What can you do? And Elijah said to her, he said, well, what do you have? And she said, nothing. I have this 1 jar of oil. That's all I have. And he said, okay, go round up all the jars in the village. And then I want you to go into the house, close the door with your 2 sons. And I want you to take that little jar of oil and start filling it into the other jars of oil until all the jars are full. And so she did, and she kept pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring. And once all of the jars were full, the jar stopped. It stopped with the overflow. And Elijah said to her, he said, now take all of that and sell it to pay off your debts, and you and your sons can live off of it for the rest of your lives. Now, here's why I share that story with you. The miracle was in what was left. The miracle is always in what was left. It's never in what you've lost or what you will gain. The miracle is always in what you have right now. So as a new entrepreneur, I would like you to take a look in the mirror and take an inventory of what do you have right now. What are the assets? What are the value? What are your skills? What are your experiences? What do you bring to the table? What do you have, man? If you've got books, then maybe you need to be reading more of those. If you've got, it's not about, oh, well, if I had $5,000, I'd go start my own business. If I had 50 grand, I could invest in a property. No. It's right there in what you've got right now, I promise. And so that's what I did, was an assessment. Okay, Glenn, what do you got? Well, I've got a resume that's killer. I've done things in the auto industry nobody's ever done before. I've got a mouthpiece, unlike most. I can speak really well. I can inspire. I can motivate. I can do all of those things, right? I have a wife that supports me and loves me and will allow me to go and do whatever it is that I need to do to get this thing right, right? Like, these are the things that I had asset wise. And through that, I was able to ask certain key mentors for guidance, and they were able to help me to pick up the pieces, right? And build something that had never been built before. What I do now, no one's ever done in the history of the car business. I work with owners and general managers of dealerships across the country, virtually only. I never step foot in their dealerships, and I only work with the top people. I don't do sales training. I don't do manager training. I work with the owner, because the way I'm concerned, you can train from the bottom up, but if the owner ain't on board, you ain't getting nowhere anyway. And so I'm the only one in the industry that does it. And I do it in a group setting. I do it coaching. It's all of us together. And most people go out and they go in store and they do assessments and they consult. And I tried that at first, and I realized this doesn't work. Like, as soon as I'm gone, they just go back to doing what they was doing before, man. They're people. So I got to hold their hands over long periods of time. And so by looking at what I had, consulting some mentors, and then getting creative and not necessarily trying to duplicate someone else's model, but ultimately trying to figure out my niche and what I bring to the table that's valuable, I was able to create something new. And, in our very first year in business, I was able to earn more than I was making, at the dealership. So
No, that's amazing. That's a great story. And you have so much going on. So my I guess the next thing I'm curious is what can we look forward to from you in the future?
oh my gosh, everything, dude. Are you kidding me? You name it, I'm gonna do it. The biggest thing is, it, it, so there's 4 words that we are building our business around. Those words are rise, evolve, impact, together. So I believe if we can help people rise with intention and purpose, they will evolve into the best versions of themselves that they can possibly be, and ultimately go out and make an impact in other people's lives. And the best part is we can do it together. So right now, whenever opportunities come our way, we just look, does it check those boxes? Does it help people rise? Does it help people evolve? Does it help them make an impact? And is it something that can be done together? I'm not a solopreneur in any way, shape, or form. I love people. And so with that said, right now, we're building Breakfast with Champions over on Clubhouse, really building around the Rise and Grind brand, looking at some opportunities to maybe do some TV, some movie work, those types of things, which are super cool. But ultimately, the stage changes, but the mission never does. We are on a mission to change the way people start their day. And so we will basically, I will do whatever I got to do to reach the furthest corners, the darkest places, help people feel seen, help people feel valued, help them change the way they start their day. And I want to do that on a global scale. I have visions and dreams of global platforms helping millions of people. And so I don't necessarily know the when or the how. I just know the why. And that's enough. Sometimes that's enough.
Awesome. Now, we're joined today by a lot of healthcare security leaders, and I'm just curious, do you have a special message to share with the healthcare security cast community?
Man, just it's if you are in, not if, because you clearly are, you're that audience. So you are a protector. You are a provider. That is your personality. That's why you're in the role that you're in. You're all about protecting other people. That's part of your DNA and your nature. And so you like to serve. And serving people sometimes tend to put themselves last because they're constantly serving others. And so the only message I want to put on your ears, in your mind, and in your heart is the best way that you can serve others is to make sure that you are taken care of first. You've got to be rooted in a solid foundation. Otherwise, you become just as weak as the person you're trying to help. And two weak folks don't get very far. Somebody's got to be strong. So take the time, serve yourself or serve others by serving yourself. That'd be the message I'd give them.
Awesome stuff. Well, as we wrap up here, Glenn, what is the best way for us to connect with you?
Best thing to do is go to glennlundy.com. If you go there, it'll connect you to all my stuff, my Instagram, my Clubhouse, all that stuff. You can get it all to glennlundy.com. You can join the Rise and Grind group. You can download my free book, The Morning Five Simple Steps to an Extraordinary Life, that talks about all these things that we talked about, but in more depth, and gives you a little bit more of my story. So you can go to themorning5.com if you just want to download that, or go to glennlundy.com. You can find it there also. But yeah, let's connect, man. I'd love to hang out.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate the time, Glenn, and I appreciate you. This is a great message that you shared today.
Thank you so much, man. This has been great. I appreciate you so very, very, very much.
The Healthcare Security Cast is available on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music and Audible, and many other platforms as well. Check out our Linktree on your computer or mobile device. And this can be found at linktree/Brian Hamilton. That's linktr.ee/Brian, BRINE, Hamilton. Again, that's linktr.ee/Brian Hamilton. Or if it's easier, send me a text at 647-372-2042. That's 647-372-2042. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have or share any links you may be looking for. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, take care and stay safe.